For decades, the United States has waged a difficult and often frustrating struggle against powerful drug cartels. Border patrols, intelligence sharing, and joint raids have chipped away at trafficking networks. But the flow of narcotics, especially deadly synthetic drugs like fentanyl, has only grown. Now that battle is changing dramatically. Above Mexico, CIA-operated MQ-9 Reaper drones quietly sweep the skies, their sensors hunting hidden drug labs and tracking cartel leaders. Farther south, U.S. Navy destroyers prowl the Caribbean and Pacific, prepared to cut off maritime smuggling routes once considered untouchable. This is no longer a quiet law enforcement mission. It is an ambitious, technology-driven campaign designed to dismantle the cartel's empire, and it is already testing political and legal boundaries on both sides of the border. The drones that see everything. At the heart of this new approach is the MQ-9 Reaper, a drone long associated with counter-terrorism missions in the Middle East. Although the Reapers now flying over Mexico are unarmed, they are proving to be an intelligence powerhouse. The CIA's covert drone program expanded during the Biden administration, building on smaller missions that began years earlier. These flights focus on identifying clandestine fentanyl laboratories and tracing the movements of cartel operatives. The Reaper's strength lies not in weapons, but in information. Its advanced multispectral sensors can detect chemical signatures invisible to the human eye, revealing the plumes emitted by synthetic drug production. High-resolution cameras and powerful radar systems map movement across remote terrain, while signals intelligence tools intercept radio and mobile phone communications. Together, these systems create detailed profiles of trafficking networks, who moves where, when, and with whom. One standout technology is the Vader radar, developed by Northrop Grumman, which can produce sharp images through smoke, clouds, or darkness while tracking vehicles in real time. Such tools, perfected during years of tracking terror suspects abroad, are now being applied to drug cartels just across the U.S. border. Surveillance without missiles, for now. For the moment, U.S. officials emphasize that these drones are unarmed, with no immediate plans to carry out strikes. Instead, the intelligence they collect is shared with Mexico's security forces, particularly elite Marine units known for their commitment to fighting organized crime. Still, this cooperation has its limits. Not all flights are fully coordinated with Mexico, and the lack of transparency has drawn criticism. President Claudia Sheinbaum has described the rising U.S. surveillance as part of a small campaign, but offered little detail, while Defense Minister Ricardo Trevino warned that Mexico does not know the full extent of U.S. espionage activities. The bigger question is whether these flights could lay the groundwork for direct action. In past conflicts, surveillance was often the first step before airstrikes. Analysts warn that if cartels are formally designated as foreign terrorist organizations, a move the Trump administration considered, it could legally open the door for U.S. drone or missile strikes inside Mexico. Such an escalation would be unprecedented and politically explosive, but it is no longer unthinkable. The Navy moves south. While the skies grow crowded with U.S. drones, the seas to the south are seeing a parallel buildup. The Pentagon has deployed 3 Arleigh Burke-class destroyers, USS Jason Dunham, USS Sampson, and USS Gravely, to waters off South America and the Caribbean. Their mission is to intercept trafficking routes, particularly those tied to Venezuela, a country U.S. officials accuse of running one of the world's largest narcotics networks. These ships are among the most advanced warships ever built. Each destroyer combines stealth design, powerful radar systems, long-range missiles, and state-of-the-art electronic warfare tools. They can defend against aircraft, submarines, and ballistic missiles, while striking land targets hundreds of miles away. For this campaign, their primary role is not launching missiles at smugglers, but gathering intelligence and stopping shipments at sea. Using helicopters, small boats, and their extensive sensor suites, these ships can detect, track, and interdict suspect vessels. Their presence also sends an unmistakable message. The United States is willing to use its most capable naval assets to choke off the drug trade. Expanding the battlefield. The maritime buildup is part of a larger strategy to widen the front beyond Mexico. Under directives issued during the Trump administration, the Pentagon increased its counter-narcotics operations throughout the Caribbean and South American waters. Thousands of sailors and Marines have been deployed, including the Iwo Jima Amphibious Ready Group and the 22nd Marine Expeditionary Unit. These forces form a mobile crisis response team capable of shifting from interdiction to combat or humanitarian missions if the situation changes. At the same time, the U.S. Justice Department has dramatically increased pressure on Venezuela's Nicolas Maduro, doubling the reward for his arrest to $50 million. Washington accuses Maduro of coordinating with cartels to flood the U.S. market with cocaine. This blending of counter-narcotics and geopolitical pressure shows how the drug war has become entangled with larger foreign policy objectives. Cartels are fighting back. Despite the advanced technology arrayed against them, cartels remain formidable opponents. These are not small, poorly equipped gangs, but powerful organizations with modern weapons, deep local ties, and growing technological skills of their own. Many groups now use weaponized drones, armored narco-tanks, and fortified safe houses to defend their territory. They also maintain extensive networks of informants and local supporters, making them hard to infiltrate and even harder to dismantle completely. The U.S. military's find, fix, finish strategy, developed during the War on Terror, may not translate smoothly to this battlefield. Unlike rural insurgent hideouts, many cartel operations sit inside dense civilian areas where airstrikes could cause unacceptable casualties and diplomatic backlash. Drones reduce risk to American forces but cannot replace human intelligence gathered on the ground. For now, U.S. ground presence in Mexico remains minimal, limited mostly to training and advising. Expanding it would be both dangerous and politically explosive. Law, sovereignty, and the risk of escalation. Perhaps the most delicate issue is legality. Conducting airstrikes in a country not at war with the United States would break long-standing norms and almost certainly damage relations with Mexico. Some policymakers argue that labeling cartels as terrorist groups could provide a legal foundation for more aggressive action, but such a move would inflame tensions across Latin America and could draw sharp backlash from Mexico's government. Mexico has already said clearly that it will not allow U.S. forces to operate on its soil. Any unilateral action by Washington, especially armed drone strikes, would provoke a diplomatic crisis and might even rally local support behind the cartels. For now, both governments appear committed to cooperation, but the infrastructure the U.S. is building could enable more forceful options if relations sour. Why the U.S. is acting now? The urgency behind this escalation can be traced directly to the fentanyl crisis ravaging American communities. This synthetic opioid is cheap, extremely potent, and now the leading cause of overdose deaths in the United States. Much of it originates in clandestine Mexican labs that rely on precursor chemicals imported from Asia. For U.S. leaders, the crisis has shifted from a domestic public health issue to a national security threat. Under both the Biden and Trump administrations, the government has sought to bring military-grade tools into the fight. The result is an unusual bipartisan consensus. The cartels are too powerful to be left to law enforcement alone. A campaign still in motion. For now, America's campaign remains focused on surveillance, maritime interdiction, and intelligence sharing with Mexico. But the systems being built, from drone networks to naval deployments, could support far more aggressive steps in the future. If Washington ever decides to strike directly, analysts expect it would begin with long-range drone or missile attacks on key cartel facilities or leadership compounds, avoiding ground troops but sending a powerful signal. Whether this approach can succeed where decades of drug policy have failed is unclear. Technology and precision warfare offer new tools, but the cartel's deep social roots and adaptability make them resilient foes. Any misstep could destabilize relations with Mexico or trigger unintended consequences. A war emerging from the shadows. For years, the war on drugs was fought quietly with small wins and endless setbacks. Today, it is moving into the open. CIA Reapers sweep Mexican skies, U.S. destroyers patrol the Caribbean, and Marines wait offshore as policymakers consider options that would once have been unthinkable. Washington appears determined to shift from reactive enforcement to proactive disruption, even if it means blurring the line between law enforcement and military action. What happens next could redefine America's approach to organized crime beyond its borders. The coming months may determine whether this high-tech, intelligence-driven offensive becomes a turning point, or just another chapter in a long and costly struggle that shows no sign of ending. Thanks for watching. If you found this breakdown of America's new fight against the cartels eye-opening, make sure to hit that like and subscribe. We have more deep dives coming soon, so stick around and let us know in the comments what part of this story surprised you the most. See you in the next video.